As we discussed in the last video, many students think of startup failure as a catastrophic career ender. This fear keeps a lot of people stuck in unhappy jobs instead of trying to build something on their own. But if you actually talk to founders whose startups failed and track what they did next, you will find that the reality is quite different. After their startup failed, you will usually find founders in three kinds of situations. Many founders take up senior roles in other large or small organizations after shutting down their startups. Because what you learn about your industry while your startup is failing is quite valuable for other organizations in the same or adjacent industries. Some founders join VC firms and become investors. Again, because what you learn about building a startup in your own startup journey is valuable for the VC's portfolio companies even if your own startup failed. And there are some founding teams that get absorbed by large companies to build out new product lines for them, even though what the founding team originally built has failed and will eventually be shut down. This is called an acqui-hire or a talent acquisition. You may have seen newspaper headlines about acqui-hires. One example is Amazon's acqui-hire of Tabzo in India in 2018, reportedly for $40 million. Notice the fine print in the news article about investors of Tabzo getting back their invested cash, while founders getting some cash in the deal. Similar news comes from Google's acqui-hire of Milk in 2012. Observe that the headline reports that Milk was being shut down while Google was essentially just hiring Kevin Rose, the ex-co-founder of social bookmarking startup Dig. Notice the fine print. Google bought the team and tossed aside the actual company. Google wanted Milk's product and design talent. And notice that the deal was worth $15 million. Here's Yahoo doing it with Snippet in 2013. Notice that the acqui-hire price seems to be about $10 million for a team of 10 people. Also note that the news mentions earnouts tied to team retention. The article also talks about the immediately effective shutdown of Snippet and concludes that Yahoo was interested in Snippet more for its employees than its product. Similarly, Dropbox acqui-hired the app ReadMill in 2014 and shut down the service. The deal value was about $8 million, but notice that the article mentions that the $8 million was not cash, but mostly in the form of Dropbox stock, with only a small portion of the upfront cash for ReadMill's founders. Acqui-hires are quite common, especially in the world of technology startups. For a large organization, acqui-hiring a working team and committing them to build a new product is much easier than hiring people piecemeal to build that new product due to three reasons. First, even though a startup's product failed, the team would have learned how to work well together, and hence, it is better for a large organization to get such a team to build a new product than to try building a new team from scratch. Secondly, startups are often able to attract very talented people who otherwise may not join a large organization as employees. And an acqui-hire can be a great way for a large organization to get access to such talent. Thirdly, failed startup founders may still have gained unique insights about the industry, which would potentially make them strong leaders within a large organization. If you look at the commercials of a tech acqui-hire in 2021 in the US, as a rule of thumb, the usual deal size will be about $1 to $3 million for every engineer, designer, and product manager in the startup being acqui-hired. Any sales, support, and operations team members that are being acqui-hired are usually not counted in this typical deal size. Recall the news item about Snippet. Yahoo acqui-hired 10 employees of Snippet for $10 million, in line with this rule of thumb. Also know that an acqui-hire deal itself is usually not for cash, despite what the newspaper headlines may imply. These deals are usually for stock options of the acquiring entity that vest over a 3 to 5 year period if the acqui-hired employee stays back with the acquirer. If the startup had raised any venture capital before being acqui-hired though, the VC usually gets their capital back in the deal. We will see why when we discuss a typical VC term sheet in course 2, the VC business model. The founders may receive some cash in the deal, usually less than $1 million per founder, but founders also often only get stock options of the acquiring entity, not cash. Other employees of the startup usually only get stock options, apart from some joining or retention bonuses. An acqui-hire deal should be thought of as a soft landing for the team with better bonuses and stock options than a straight hire, along with some payouts to founders for putting together the whole unit. Looking at these three situations, do you still believe that failing as an entrepreneur will harm your career? It is not debatable that you may suffer some financial loss if your startup fails, but the learning that you gain, even if you fail, is valuable in the job marketplace. So as far as your career and your future earning potential are concerned, failing as an entrepreneur is actually quite valuable. This is true for India in 2021 for students with a good education. You should talk to failed founders in your country and at your education level to find out if they had to take a step back in their career because of their failure, or whether their career prospects improved or remained the same after their failure. Now that we have looked at what happens when entrepreneurs fail, next, let's turn the table around and ask ourselves a question that almost no one asks. What happens when you fail in a traditional career? Let's take the example of business consulting. What happens when consultants fail in their career? Hey there, I'm KJ Saxena, founder of Relentless VC. The video you just watched is part of the Venture Capital and Entrepreneurship specialization, which is available absolutely for free on relentless.ventures. Go check it out. If you're a tech startup founder and want to raise money from us, you should apply on our website. Lastly, if you like this video, do subscribe and share it with your friends.